I want to get in the vortex as that woman did with her relationship. I want to get there with money. Yes, I want to get there with money. Can you help me?
We can, but we want to clarify something because there may be a little bit of misunderstanding. You can get in the vortex by just focusing upon something that makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. In other words, you don't have to take the subject that is the issue and change it so that you can get in the vortex. So it's pretty easy to get in the vortex because there are so many wonderful things that you might focus upon that would get you in there. Mm-hmm. But what we think you're saying is, I want to get in the vortex and I don't want the idea of money to drive me out.
Yes.
In other words, I don't want the things that it seems that I'm forced to face all day, every day, to constantly be the reason that I get booted out of the vortex. And we say, well, the only way to take care of that is to get in there and notice what boots you out and then fix it. And then get in there and notice what boots you out and fix it. Does that make sense? In other words, what kinds of thoughts are you commonly thinking that keep booting you out?
Bills come in the mail.
So, do you think that's predominantly the reason you get booted out?
I can name a lot of reasons, but I don't want to focus on that. But that's one of them.
Well, yeah. Now, if there's ever a time to focus upon it, it's when we're asking you.
Okay. All right.
Because
that's the work. Okay, got it.
Because what we're just talking about here is, I can get in the vortex, but I keep getting booted out. And we say, then you want to figure out what's booting you out and fix it. And you say, no, I don't want to think about that. And we say, that's irrational. I kept getting booted out, but I don't want to do anything about not getting booted out. That's a cycle that you've been experiencing. And the reason that we bring that up, and you helped us so beautifully just now, is because there are a lot of people who want to think positive and who don't understand that it's all right to be negative. That's your guidance system showing you that you are. Then just close that gap. In other words, we are not ever asking you, any of you, to do the impossible task of getting in the vortex and just staying there always. You've come to do some step one work. We just want you to be in control of whether you're in or out. And we want you, when you are out, to know how to easily get back in. It's a beautiful life when you get in the vortex and then something boots you out and you say, oh, I'm in control. I'm out of the vortex. I can feel I'm out of the vortex. I'd rather be in the vortex. What thoughts was I thinking that booted me out? How can I massage those thoughts? That's what the purpose of the focus wheel is. Esther does 5 or 10 or 20 or sometimes 30 focus wheels every day as she's fine-tuning little things that bother her in little ways, and she wants to work the bugs out of the things that bother her. You know what a focus wheel is? A focus wheel is a process, it's in 1 or 2 of the books, where you, on a sheet of paper, draw a circle in the center and then 12 circles around the edge. Big enough that you can write a short sentence in each of them. And now you have a reason to do the focus wheel. Something has booted you out of the vortex, or you're consciously aware that something's bothering you. Well, when you know what you don't want, you always know more clearly what you do want. So in the center circle, you write what it is you do want. So, for example, let's say that the bills come and you feel overwhelmed and you feel worried and you feel tense. Want to add any more description to that?
Tense, worried. There's also a certain creativity in it. You know, what can I do to pay those off? So the negative emotion is the knowing what I don't want. I'm tense. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I don't want to not keep my commitment. I don't want to get bad credit. I don't want to disappoint others. What is it I do want? I want to meet my responsibilities. I want to be prosperous. I want to, but even more, think about what you really want. I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way this pile of bills makes me feel. I want to feel prosperous. I want to feel good. I want to feel confident. I want to feel sure. I want to feel
feel prosperous. I want to know my prosperity. So you write that in the center of your wheel. I want to know my prosperity. Now, the game is, you got to get on the wheel. And you know how the merry-go-rounds and the playground go if the other kids are on it and it's going too fast and you try to get on, it just knocks you off in the bushes. Yeah. But if they'll slow it down enough to let you on, now you can have a fun, fast ride. It's sort of like that. If the wheel's going too fast, you can't get on. So if you try to choose something that's too vibrationally in alignment with what's in the center of the wheel, and you're not up to speed with it, you can't run fast enough to get on, then it will throw you off in the bushes. So you want to slow this wheel down enough to get on. So what you're looking for your first statement that you will write on the focus wheel is something that you already believe that does match your desire to feel your utter prosperity. I want to feel my utter prosperity. So what thoughts, what beliefs do you already hold that sort of kind of match that?
I know the prosperity is in my escrow. I feel it. I see it.
We think you just got thrown off in the bushes, because if that were true, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's a confusion.
Well, we're clearing it up now.
Right.
So we're just pointing out to you that you're making statements that you don't believe, and so it's not making any improvement for you.
This is where the confusion is. I actually do believe that, and yet I don't see it showing up in my life, and that is where I'm getting confused with the Abraham technique. So maybe you can help me and those other people who are also confused.
Well,
I do believe that. I see my prosperity.
So you see what you're doing here. You're acknowledging that you don't get it, and then you're validating not getting it by pointing out that there are other people that probably don't get it too. Okay. So you're holding to the beliefs. It's like arguing for your limitation. Okay. It's like and if we push you too hard, you'll cling even harder. So there are about 5 more focus wheels that just popped up here that we could work on later. But let's start with this one now.
Okay.
I'm wanting to feel the ease of prosperity. I'm wanting to feel the ease of prosperity. Sometimes by just pondering the words, you soften your resistance a little bit.
Yeah.
So now, what do you know that matches that? Have you ever felt the ease of prosperity?
No.
Do you know anybody?
Yes, I
Can
do.
you imagine? So there are people who feel the ease of their prosperity. Do you believe that?
Yes, I do.
So you're on the wheel. There are people who feel like I want to feel. Mm-hmm. In fact, I believe that there are people who feel like I want to feel who before felt like I do feel. In other words, there have been a lot of people that have been in the place that I am that have worked their way out of it. Mm-hmm. And so I do know that prosperity and feeling prosperous is possible.
Oh, yes.
So now you're on the wheel again.
Yeah.
What else?
I have wonderful clients who have lots of money, and I like the feeling of being around that.
All right. Now that felt pretty good, but there's a potential of another focus wheel wording out there. In that, talk to us just briefly. We'll take a little focus wheel aside. Talk to us briefly about those clients who have a lot of money. How do you feel about that?
They're able to spend time with their children. They're able to go on vacation. They're able to afford beautiful things. It's wonderful to be around.
All right. So now we just we want you to milk that a little more for good feelings, because sometimes by pointing out something that you want that you don't have, it works against you.
No, it's okay here.
All right. So give us a little more about that.
Oh, they're happy. They're content. They found a place to be where they're abundant and they can enjoy life, and they can spend money at my store.
We believe you. We believe you.
Yeah.
So you're
great.
It is. So that was good. So you're on the wheel now. Spring from that into something that brings it more home for you, because there is a little bit of pointing out how well others are doing.
Right.
And so now we want you to
I look forward to having that in my own life more and more and more. I can see myself on vacation more and more. I can see my bills going down and down.
Well, we can feel you're good with these words, and we can feel that you've been doing some of this, and yet you're still in this place. And so that is an indication that the words that you're speaking and the energy that's moving within you aren't quite jiving. In other words, and a lot of people do this. A lot of people, in a sense, put that happy face sticker on the empty gas gauge, and then aren't letting their indicator help them. So just keep talking, and if there's anything that's really out of whack, it will stand out a little bit. So keep making your way around this wheel.
I enjoy that I live in a beautiful area. I enjoy where my home is.
Does it feel at all to you like we're dancing around the issue and that we're not right on it?
Well, if we were right on the issue and I were to be telling you how upset I am about not being able to pay my bills.
Well, we don't want you to do that, but we do want to hit the issue a little more on the head so that we can move, because the whole point of the focus wheel is to bridge a belief that isn't working into a belief that is working. That's the whole point, is to move how I really feel to a place where I really feel better. You see, because what you're saying to us, and it's what we can feel, you're trying to avoid how you really feel for the sake of how it might sound, or for the sake of it maybe taking you into a deeper, darker place.
Right.
Well, we want you to acknowledge what you feel, and then move it to a better feeling place.
I can feel both. I can feel that prosperity, and I can also feel the lack of it.
So what is the painful part of not enough money? In other words, how much pain are you feeling about it? We're not going to go deep there. We just want to find this.
Lately, a lot more, tremendously, and so that's why I'm here.
All right.
Yes, it's increased lately.
And what's the emotion that you would describe? Worry,
concern. There's hope in there too, but there's worry, there's concern,
and sort of a chronic feeling, this overlying feeling of worry that's sort of over the top of everything. Everything I go to do, I'm factoring that in. So I like back on the focus wheel, I like the feeling of choosing based upon whether I want to do it rather than based upon whether I can afford it.
Yes.
Did anything move there?
Yes.
I like
with
that.
The freedom of choosing.
All right.
Yes.
Well, there was the word we were reaching for. The emotion of freedom, of being free. Free from what? Free from what?
Burdens.
But free from worry. It's not free from the situation. It's free from my response to the situation.
You're right. Yes.
You see, because most people feel like
free from my own response. You're right. That's right.
Most people
Yeah.
feel like, let's do a focus wheel so I can get more money so that I can pay off these bills so I won't be worried. That's not what we're trying to get you to do. We're doing a focus wheel so you can get in the vortex. We're doing a focus wheel so that your response to what's going on will change, because when your emotional response to something shifts, your vibrations shift. You're not just using words that are covering it up that don't change anything. You're changing your emotional response, and when you change your emotional response, your vibrations shifted, and then you've got to get different indicators, because your current financial situation is only an indicator. It's indicating the vibration like your emotions are indicating the vibration. So if we can play this game that changes your emotions, because your emotions will not change. In other words, we could sit here and play and you'd just get more and more and more tense and more defensive, and nothing would shift in your vibration. But if we can play the game where you loosen up and you start feeling better and your response is different, that means you've had a vibrational shift. And when that happens, then the reality has to shift too.
That's
you get
beautiful.
how that
That's
works?
a subtle difference. It's my response to my situation, not the situation and not the words that bring me out of it, but it's that the medium spot there.
And it's your response that's holding you in that chronic place. So imagine what would happen if you did a few focus wheels so that you were more determined to be positive rather than negative, or to feel lighter rather than heavier. And so now you're catching yourself over and over until your response is chronically shifting. And once your response is chronically shifting so that you're feeling lighter about it, you start calling it a temporary situation. It not only was it temporary, it was catalytic, because, oh man, did I ever throw a pile of abundance into my escrow during those tense times. So back on the focus wheel, there will be a time that I will be reaping the benefit of what's in my escrow, and I will have these tense days to thank for it. So these tense days are not bad. These tense days have been just what I knew they would be. These tense days have been sifting through the contrast and defining who I am. And
it's
who,
so true, but
and
it's
who,
hard. It's
and
hard.
Who out of the vortex. And who am I? Who am I?
It's hard.
I'm good at what I do. I'm good at what I do, and I care about doing well. And I've always been hard after it. And now I'm going to relax a little bit. I'm going to give myself the luxury of feeling a little more free. What you're going to begin to discover, so many of you are out of the vortex, working so hard. And when you get in the vortex, life's easier.